Titan Tornado. Two-place tandem aircraft, tricycle gear pusher with the engine mounted in the back. Cruises with 2 people at about 110 miles per hour. Burns about 5 gallons an hour. Performance-wise, while flying it through the day, was pretty responsive. The stall was very manageable, even uncoordinated. It didn't want to roll too much, so it's pretty easy to fly. Takeoffs and landings were straightforward, pretty easy. Approach speed was about 70 miles per hour. This one uses the Lycoming 912S or US, I believe, with a whirlwind prop. The engine behind the center of gravity and located aft, there's a tail wheel for ground handling. Once the pilot or passenger get in the aircraft, the nose comes down to the ground and is pretty easy to manage. It uses heel brakes instead of toe brakes, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but otherwise pretty straightforward flyer. This version is the S version. There's the Tornado, Tornado 2, the Tornado S, and the Tornado SS. The S stands for stretched, which means it's 3 inches taller and 3 inches longer for the passenger. The SS is 3 inches, additional 3 inches taller, and an additional 3 inches in the back. So in this model, which is the S, you'll notice that between the pilot and the passenger in the back seat, there's not a control rod. In the other models, there's a control rod that runs from behind the passenger's or behind the pilot seat up to the control area surface of the wing. This does not have that, so it's a little bit more amenable to passengers who aren't used to seeing that right in their face. You'll see the yellow rod right there is the control for the ailerons going up and down. So I believe this is the 2, but pretty easy to outfit, pretty basic, but a fun little flyer. This uses the Razor Whirlwind carbon fiber prop. It's a fixed pitch. A full flying tail, so the tail actually pivots, and there is a trim tab across the whole back of the horizontal stabilizer and elevator. So this is a view of the passenger compartment. There's the trim wheel for the passenger. That could be adjusted based on the length of the stick or the rod that you use for that. There's the rudder pedals for the passenger. Cable on the bottom is for the toe brake or the heel brakes. And then throttle is over. Fuel tank is in the back. And is fueled from back here. Pilot seat. It's pretty simple, basic. Intercom can be placed anywhere you want, and this model is right up there, so it can be controlled, and headsets for both the pilot and the passenger. Controls are at your left and your right with simple gauges. Rudder pedals are adjustable, so you can bring them forward and back depending on the height of the pilot, and that's accomplished by turning this lever right down here, and that brings the rudder pedals in or out depending on the height of the pilot for comfort. Takes a little bit of effort to get in, to get over the stick. And then once you're in, pretty easy to adjust the rudder pedals. Nice and comfortable. I'm just under 6 foot, but I'm really comfortable. It really was different flying this compared to a regular airplane with the engine out front. The pusher, the visibility was fantastic. Reminded me a lot like being in a helicopter. Good visibility out the sides, and the sight picture for the runway on landings was a little bit unique, but absolutely something worth being able to get used to. So very comfortable right here. There isn't a lot of shoulder width wise. If you're used to flying in a side by side, it's going to feel a little bit different because you've got the canopy or the door on the side right next to you. So you can see that in here you've got a frame piece that runs straight in front of you. Not much different than like a Super Cub or any other kind of a plane that has like a V-bar or any other kind of support. So it's not that distracting visibility wise. It looks pretty good. You can see here I've got a good 4 inches from my head. I can come forward quite a bit without touching. So pretty good distance there. Doors open. It's on a hinge. You bring it down. As you can see, fairly comfortable. I've got plenty of sitting back. I've got plenty of distance up here. I can move around side to side. Yeah, it works pretty well. So then the passenger would sit back in the back. So this is the view from the Titan Tornado S model. So in this version was actually kind of nice flying. This one, the stick actually has your flap controls on the stick, so up and down. A little bit different with the down being, it was opposite of what I thought it would be, so I would switch that up if it were me. I would have down be back and then up be forward. That's just more natural for me, but otherwise not bad. So like I said, so at about eye level, really awesome unrestricted view all the way back to the wings where you can see the flaps. Out the back and the sides. And then out and down while you're flying. So while flying, the flight characteristics were pretty stable. When we did a stall, it was just a nice clean break, nice and easy, no significant wing drop either way. The only complaint I really would have about this while flying was the throttle placement and the trim wheel, which is down on the right-hand side of or left-hand side of the pilot down here on the ground level. You can adjust where that wheel is. I had to put it actually further back as opposed to where it is down forward, because I had a tendency to bump the control rod for the throttle, and that would change my power settings. So just be aware of that. It's on that side. So otherwise, great little flying airplane. Enjoyed flying it. I talked with John. It does come, you can put it on floats, and he says it's a pretty good little performer on the floats. So If you're interested, let me know.